and welcome to Silk Business Landscape, your weekly compass through the economic tides shaping Nigeria and the world. I'm your host, Moyosori Adebi, and today's show is a three-part journey. First, we take a festive yet critical look at the Sallah season as ram traders and transporters cash in, despite soaring prices. Then we zoom into the heart of Nigeria's industrial ambition as NLNG's Train 7 nears the finish line. And finally, we dig into the dirt, literally, with news of a $110 million food loan from Japan as the federal government tries to feed the nation and stabilize the economy amid inflation. Whether you're a policy buff, a market watcher, or just a curious citizen, this episode is packed with insight, strategy, and a whole lot of economic meat. So let's get into it. I'm Moyosori Adebi, as I earlier said, and I am joined to my left by the lucid and soft-spoken Mr. Olumide Shokoya. And of course, to my right, we have the very riveting Mr. Priye Krumale. And next to me, we have Mr. Chooks John Rogers. We all know him very animated and of equally very lucid. Thank you guys for being here today. This is the first time I'm sitting on this side. So this is new to me. In the meantime, we'll take a short break now, and when we return, we'll bring you the full details of this story. Thank you so much. Now we begin. As Eid al-Kabir begins, some traders and transporters in Jigawa State are making increased profits as prices of goods and services heightened. While the cost of rams brought about fewer buyers in markets like Shuwarin and Maigatari, ram prices now range from 180,000 up to a staggering 980,000 naira. While bulls and camels sell for over 1 million naira. Seller says that the number of buyers is lower this year, but those who are buying are paying much more than before. The rise in prices is due to the closure of the Nigeria-Niger border and low supply of livestock. Transporters are also earning more as the demand for moving animals from farms to market has increased. Even with the high cost of fuel, many vehicles are fully booked for Sallah deliveries. Now, while the high prices are making it hard for many families to afford the traditional Eid sacrifice, the festival is still helping businesses in the livestock and transport sectors make some gains. Now, let's get into it, ladies. I said ladies, gentlemen, I must be missing a mobile. Yes. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Krumale. This season, the prices are a lot higher. Do we think this is like seasonal inflation, or is this a call to action as against the worsening situation of the supply chain in Nigeria, of the food supply chain in Nigeria?
First of all, I will say it is both informed by a seasonal inflation.
Yes.
Do I even want to call it inflation? Let me use that word. I will call it seasonal, and also we have some other policies that has influenced the current happenings. Yeah. That is not a direct offshoot of what we are currently celebrating. Because whenever we have this cultural and religious festival, yeah, one thing that is bound to happen is the level of economic activities increase. Not only does that happen, you also get to see that some of these economic activities will affect the crop product, the prices of the staples, yeah, and agricultural produce. Sometimes you see the price run high, others you see the price run down low, and they all have the reason why that is happening. Now, currently, if you look at, most people may not be able to afford rams in this specific season. And one of the reasons, rams and cows, one of the reasons for this happening is that before now, Niger Republic, after they pulled out, there was the coup there and the military junta started governing the country, and after they pulled out of the ECOWAS bloc, you know that they started imposing, they stopped the movement of cows and cattle down from that part of town into Nigeria like they normally do. And we are being told that about 500 cows, or if maybe even if, I think he wants to say 50, and I just waved it aside because that's too insignificant a number with the number of trailers you see coming into Lagos State. One of those trailers could house more, if not 30 or more cows, let alone say 50 coming from Niger Republic. So I think it's more than that. I could put the number being 500 or so, because not all of them get into Lagos State. But we know that Lagos is a high consumer of meat. So because of that, you see a few of them come in. And when few come in, we now have fewer cows and fewer rams to buy or to go around, then the price spike. Because as we speak now, the price of a good ram is between 200 and 250,000 naira. For the average cattle is about 750,000, and the one that is bigger than the average cattle is going to 1 million naira.
Yeah.
So in that specific case, you look at how many people can afford that. So when our team went out, they were conversing with people. Some said, okay, fine. People who are buying now are buying well and they are paying freely. But the number of people that patronized those cows and the rams are somewhat few. Yes. However, they are making sales. So we could see that the number of cattle and the number of rams in demand in this specific season has drastically depleted. Yes. So if we move away from that, what about tomato, onion, those perishable goods that we normally even attract from the north down to the southern part of this country? One thing I will always do is attribute the recent slight spike in the prices of tomato to one of what happened some few days ago in Mokwa in Niger State, where a devastating flood came into place. And what you see is that one of the critical infrastructure, a bridge, if not, I believe it's even more than one, collapsed. And that has led into some of these trucks ferrying these goods into the southern part of Nigeria, to remain stuck over there. So itself, it has some sort of influence in the current prices. So at the moment, we can say, yeah, seasonal, but it has both policy coming from our neighboring countries and natural disaster.
Yeah, I love that you even brought up the, the tomato issue and also the natural disaster. I know this is the festive season and I don't want to make it a little bit gloomy, but I'm going to ask you this question, Mr. Chooks. Do you think that even post-Sallah festivities, should we be worried in the long run about, access and prices of not just livestock, but just food prices generally? Because I feel like, now we're talking about the closure of the Niger border. It's not only livestock we were getting from Niger back then. So should we be worried, and what can we do to even placate this issue, so to speak?
Okay, the word worry is one conscious, in quote. So please don't worry. Worry takes you to the hospital. Drugs are expensive right now. It's seasonal, so first I want to say Baraka de Sallah to all our Muslim friends, faithfuls, and families, and have yourself a beautiful celebration. For the cost of rams and cows, let's look at what it did cost last year and what it's costing this year. What has hit the Naira also hits that market. When dollar decides to go up based on our less productivity, it affects everything. Right. So that comparison is there. That's a stark reality. And just like Priye said, several other factors have also come to play from Niger Republic. Yeah. They might not give us much, but the amount coming in from there is much. So he was saying about 50 cattle, 50 herds. 50 herds of cattle, that's much. Plenty.
It begs the question, how many is in a herd? Not just one.
Yes.
So for we on this other side, like he mentioned Mokwa too. That is one thing that most people are not really considering, because that is a major route to bring in this particular agric products. That's what they are, from the far north, where a lot of them are found down this way. So now if they have to now look for another route, which means they have to now go all the way back to Lokoja and push it this way, extra cost, who bears it? You. Should we be worried if we depend on being worried, then nothing will happen. I will prefer looking at solutions. Right now, we are getting into the rainy season, which means we'll spend less for irrigation. Farmers, supporters of farmers, private organizations, state, local government, this is the time to abate any worry. If we say in the next 3 months, we are going to invest our strength, our focus in producing food in the next 3 months, we'll have enough cereal to feed everybody. Well, now that is where the issue is. Willpower, focus. Are we going to do it? Let us take this rainy season, take this Ramadan that is here as a wake-up call that, yes, people are hungry, but we can engage these people that are hungry in productive ventures. Everybody must not be here in Lagos. When I say this, people get angry, but it's the truth. Everybody must not be here in Lagos. There are several people that can be duly engaged outside Lagos. So this is where, I won't mention government first, but this is where me, you, private organizations, and government has to play. We need people to farm, and we need those products to be moved. We have the time, we have the rain, so let's get to it.
I'm a bit worried especially when you say we have the rain.
Part
of the problem is that bridges are falling.
No. So bridges that are falling is
falling and bridges are falling.
It's not carrying the land away.
It's not about it's not carrying the land away, but it's one thing to produce the food. If it can't get to me, then there's a problem.
Now, you see, when we keep looking at the problem, let's farm first. Let it be the movement that now starts looking for solutions, but now we need to farm.
No.
Mind you that we are busy worried about a bridge that fell. We have bigger problems to worry about. There is a dam somewhere in Cameroon, and by the time the rains is almost going, if it overflows, they try opening it, and that happens every year. Yes. So these are things that we should worry about. But if we can start farming, let's have a board, a committee, like government always said, that will mitigate that. But first, let us farm.
I still have a bit of problem with the saying the rain is not a problem. Personally, for me, I feel that if rain is falling and we can't transport these things and there's a problem with the logistics of delivering this food, I think that there's a major problem. But I'm going to come to you, Mr. Olumide. We've talked about, the rain and the problems and stuff like that. What, in your perspective, in all of this, would you say the government should really focus on? Because again, we are asking for public-private partnerships and all of that. It's not everything that can solve, right? When we're looking at, bridges are being built and rain falls and it's collapsing, there could be many reasons. It could be structural reasons and not just even rain. It could be a lack of the drainage systems not working properly. So those are things that generally fall under the purview of the government. So what would you say they could do to help us, so to speak, with the masses?
Well, first of all, Priye Chooks highlighted some problems that we also need to solve. Priye talked about the Niger border closure, which could have actually reduced the price of things to a minimum or something, but the border has been closed. He also talked about people going back to farms. Well, I wanted to ask him, are you ready to go back to the farm? But so what is it? It's not just Sallah alone. Even during Christmas, by October, or by not even October, September, people start to buy things because that come December,
it's
prices
going to be astronomical.
Just go up. Yeah. Hotels are booked, and you begin to wonder what is really happening. There's so much, or so not so much, or is it so little the government can do? So much the government can do. Yeah. But we ourselves. Now I'm thinking, is there a way the federal government can come in to stabilize? But you can't stabilize price because, there's a whole lot that goes into it. Dollar influences it. If the dollar goes up, are you going to tell them that, take the shortfall for the dollar going up? How are you going to do that? So then again, 2 days ago, we talked about the federal government importing livestock from Denmark to increase dairy products and all that. Now, that's a good initiative, but I think the problem with our own country or our own climb is implementation. People doing the right thing at the right time. When we hear good things happening in Nigeria, we're always skeptical. What if? But I think that's also a good thing, even though climate-wise, we're not sure how these livestock will really fare in our environment. But that's also a good thing. Then I'm also worried about competitiveness, because if these livestock come in, Will the headers, will they be receptive to this? Will it crash the market? Will it bring it up? It's a whole lot of things to do, to think about, basically. So, but then again, the people themselves.
Which is you and I, is it?
You and I. This Sallah is benefiting some and it's not benefiting some. It's benefiting the livestock and the logistics because, yes, it's Christmas for them. But the common man are being priced out. Yeah. And it's creating some kind of inequality because it's almost as if it's exclusive for the wealthy now to afford, 150,000 to ₦1 million. Yes. A man who has 5 children would have to think about that. Do I really? But we live in a climate whereby we uphold tradition and religion. So some people might still want to, in the spirit of tradition and religion, do that. But are we really helping ourselves?
Yeah, I love that you talked about, people being priced out, not being able to afford this thing. And again, this is religion. We're very religious people in Nigeria. It's something that's very near and dear to our hearts. Would I be out of line if I did say that the government could probably I know we hate the word subsidies, but just for the festive seasons. Are we out of line?
On what exactly?
On the cattle.
Okay, if he's talking about...
So they're more affordable for the Muslim faithfuls in this season alone.
Okay, if you're talking
because there are lots of Muslims.
We still have open grazing problem, we have ranching. So if we're going to subsidize this, how?
Okay, so the thing about subsidy that he's talking about is this. I think I listened into a conversation where if it's going to happen, it should not be government-driven.
Who would drive that?
It should be religious houses and people.
Subsidizing for those that worship.
Because they're currently, as we speak, in Mushin area, someone bought cow. Bought what we call rams, and started selling out in a subsidized price for 75,000 naira to others who
those within his worship center.
Yes, within that Mushin area, and he was selling out. So, and I know he did not buy it because he was equally said that he didn't buy them for 75,000 naira.
Definitely.
So he's doing that for religious purposes, and government should not engage in that because even when they sponsor people to Mecca and they sponsor people to Jerusalem, to Israel, Nigerians are complaining that government should not be involved in doing such. But one thing I want to say is this. In Lagos is the largest market for red meat consumption. Not less, at least if we are to be moderate, we can say about 3,000 cows or more could be slaughtered in Lagos State every day to be eaten. Now, where are they coming from? For me, I think Niger Republic, they are doing themselves more harm because Nigeria, we are talking about a population of over 200 million people and they need beef to survive. And if Lagos alone could be going away with 5,000 cattle or between 3,000 and 5,000 cattle as meat daily, now, we will not start talking about the restaurants and the hotels that will need those as well, apart from the households that we are going to be doing that. If we calculate that for annually, for Lagos, we'll be doing more, or close to 1 million, if not more, annually. Now, where are they going to come from? I think Niger Republic should see Lagos or Nigeria as a very big market, no matter no matter the friction or the conflict. Trade should be left open so that it can benefit both parties. And if they don't do that, I know the market is going to come from other places.
Okay. Can I get into this?
Yeah, go ahead.
At the start of the Russia-Ukraine war, and Russia was blocking and bringing up all forms of rhetoric on supplying gas to Europe, what did Germany do? They went back to coal. Even if they still got some, they still went back to, a lot of them went back to coal. So why you are saying Nigeria should, or Niger should do this, Niger should do that, why can't Nigeria?
They would lose, they need us.
Nigeria should start breeding hard.
Yes, because how,
and not depend on someone.
I'm trying to understand how hard it is, but you wanted to say something, Mr.
Yes, he said that it should not be left in the hands of the federal government. I would suggest local government. And the reason why
local government
to subsidize,
yeah,
it's still government.
Yes, it's still government. But let it start from the local government.
Then when it gets to Christmas, what happens? They subsidize again.
That's where that's
Yeah,
where
the next
I'm
year we
going.
subsidize
That's
again.
You
where I'm
subsidize
going.
in Easter.
There's a particular local government during Christmas.
Okay.
They subsidize chicken, and it has been working well for them.
Okay, that's their policy.
Yes.
Is it that
So
they grow the chicken or...
I don't know. I think it's this Odiolowoyi.
Is that in Lagos?
Yes, in
so
Lagos.
It's a local government in
In
Lagos,
Mushin.
and they
LCDA,
The LCDA subsidizes the prices of the chickens.
Yes,
is it?
and they sell it to their community.
To their community.
No,
Yes.
instead of this subsidy, why not empower people to farm this?
Not everybody can be
Why is
farmers.
this
There are
Lagos?
Not
farmers.
everybody wants to be farmers.
There are poultry farmers.
Okay.
Empower them to increase their intake. Empower them to grow bigger.
You know, first of
Empower
all-
the person.
Where's the land?
The land is there.
And also the lands, they cost money. You're going to pay the
It's
fair
local,
value right
it's
now for
local
all of that.
government. Somewhere before you get to Ekpe here, there are lands that are directly mapped out for agriculture. They are all over this place.
So is it
People are converting
the
into
local
something.
government that owns the poultry, or it's me, a
Now,
private poultry owner,
if-
and the local government is now going to give me a land?
Instead of the local government giving people money to subsidize chicken, why not empower farmers to produce more chicken? Why not empower farmers to produce more rams? Why not empower farmers to produce more cow? That way, you know that it's not just the end bit that you are going to subsidize each person. But you are growing an economy.
I hear you,
But
but
you know,
yeah.
while empowering them, we also have to talk about the political stability. So, which region are you talking about?
It's local government. So
I mean, region. Is it the southwest, the north?
now we've gotten to local government.
Yes.
So that is your business. If your local government does it, that's your local government's business. If your local government doesn't do it, then that's your own business. It's
No,
not
to
coming
play
from federal
devil's advocate a little bit, I would think if, okay, I give a poultry farmer more chickens that they can rear, that will give birth, that will lay eggs and all of that, or we give them the feeders and all of that. What makes me think that the price would be lower? They just have more chickens to sell. Did that make any sense? Am I making
yes,
any
now,
sense?
see,
They just have more chickens to sell.
we used to have commodity boards.
Okay.
A few of them are still there. Commodity boards were not just putting money in agriculture.
Yeah.
They were making sure that more products were being produced. And since their money is involved, they control the price. So a lot of commodity boards, what they're even doing is they offtake from farmers. That's what's happening in Niger State right now. Niger State is telling everybody, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter which state you are. If you know you can farm rice, come, we'll give you land. We'll support you. As you're harvesting, don't bother yourself, we'll buy it off you. So that way they can control the price.
But also in Lagos State, as we speak, because of the food inflation, that started over some time ago. If it's not early part of this year or last year, the Lagos State Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, they gathered somewhere somewhere in Ikeja. And I was there to cover that report, and I saw that the president of the Chamber of Commerce there, I think Mr. Gabriel Itausa, I think he was speaking, and the Lagos State Minister, Commissioner of Agriculture was there, and he spoke, and I think it was a man or a woman. So I was wondering, Lagos? Agriculture?
Yes.
What are they doing? Until I heard that there was this Sanwo-Olu market somewhere close to the Mile 12 International Market where they bring in, where you can get subsidized
Food bank.
agricultural
Yes.
produce. Yes. So when we talk about government intervention, I think it is very, very possible, whether it's coming from the federal government or the state government, but it will have to be produce specific, because they are talking about perishable goods here, including rice, beans. We're looking at tomato, onion, and all of that. So what the government in this case will have to do is to buy it from several farmers. They buy it from the farmers who sometimes experience waste because there are no storage or silos to preserve these goods. So when they buy them in that larger quantity, they are helping the farmer to make sure that he doesn't get any form of loss. And they are also making sure that these goods that are being produced in the rural areas have access to the urban areas where the larger armies of those who need to eat them are domiciled. Then they are sold for a subsidized amount, and the government does everything within its ambit to make sure that people don't sell more than the price that they have set for it, so that it can really be sold.
So really,
for the
there must be some oversight and regulation
No,
of
there
the
should.
prices after providing
But
this
the
support.
population of Lagos will also throw up another question: can those produce circulate?
Now, during that particular period, a lot of those farmer markets were established in all the local governments in Lagos. So on Sundays, once you put your ears to the ground, you know where the market is going to be. And they worked.
Yeah.
They work.
Very. Honestly, I love where we've gotten with this. Very insightful. But before we round up on the topic, Olumide, I want to get your own perspective. The middlemen right now, the people who are bringing these goods here and whatnot. What impact do you think they are playing on the pricing? And also, more important, because we all live in this country, we know that when things go up, sometimes they never come back down.
Always.
Always. So how do we address this, especially before the government, get involved? The people who are facilitating all of this, how do we, address it really?
The transporters?
Yeah, the transporters, people in the value chain.
It's a hard one, because they also have to bear the loss if fuel prices go up.
But don't you think that some of these prices are a little bit bloated? Because they're saying they're making gains, even though there are less
Everything
people.
is bloated during festive season. Whether there's any economic pressure or instability, it's always because there's this belief that people tend to buy more during festive periods. Sallah, Christmas, Easter, people go all out. So it's always, that is why people are now beating that trick now and buying shortly before that festive.
6 months at a time.
6 months.
And really cattle, they must grow up.
That's what people do now. They buy it months before that time. But even months before that time, it even gets expensive. Maybe they can add like 30 to 20%. So now, it's a whole lot. Because for the transporters also, they go through a whole lot. If the roads are not good, they bear it.
Yeah.
If their cars break down, they bear it. Sometimes these things could be looted or whatnot, they bear it. So how can the government help them? What can the government do?
Fix the roads, maybe?
Fix the road.
Yes. It's not just
But
a
not just
road
fixing
problem.
the road. Chooks, you mentioned
It's not
something
just
about
a road problem.
a train from
Yeah,
Niger.
if we have it, the tracks are still there.
They're still there.
But they're non-operational.
It's not operational.
Yeah.
Now, the issue of the farmer and the middleman is something we would keep praying to God to help us as a people. It gets to a point when a business becomes exploitative. We see cases where someone will leave the metropolitan cities and go to the rural area and buy off the entire produce in a farm and pay the farmer, well, they agree on it, but stipend, and move same thing to the metropolitan city and sell times 10.
Yes.
But we say it's business, but that is not business.
That's not business. That's not
This
business.
is what we see happen year after year. Then we also see cases where they buy off some produce, like your melon, egusi, that we'll call it here. If you get to see, after rainy season, it becomes expensive. What is happening? They buy them off the farms and go and store and won't sell.
You hoard it.
They hoard it like hoarding. Then when the prices do times 2 times 5, they now come and start selling. Now this is where our Nigerianness needs to come out. We should feel for the next person. So this is where we need those commodity boards back. Because if we have those commodity boards, we will be able to take out this middleman issue. And the government will know that if I have bought a produce off you, it's my responsibility to move it to the end user, the end consumer. We won't have issues of farmer after selling, he can't even afford to send his children to school.
Yes.
So we need, the middleman is doing business, yes, but let's do business with some form of humankind.
Let's do that. We're about to round up, so let's just
Okay.
a minute.
Okay, so the thing is this. I think this middleman issue, sometimes what I would want to point out is this. When we, bitter cola used to be, used to proliferate Nigerian market. And currently as we speak now, if we leave bitter cola aside, Nigeria is one of the best or highest producers of cassava and yam globally. So why is Gary expensive? So, so you begin to ask yourself, one of the reasons behind that is because the industrialists, not only in Nigeria, but also abroad, they've seen the industrial benefit of the bitter kola and of this cassava and yams. So when they come, they are, like you said, sometimes when they go, it's time, let's say about 6 months to harvest time. Before, as they are planting, these companies have come to buy it.
They've paid for it.
They've paid for it. So by the time they harvest, you're harvesting straight into these factories and all of that. And we all know that the noodles that we eat, some of them are produced with this cassava, some of them are produced with this. So you felt that, okay, when industry comes to buy, they don't buy one, they don't buy two.
Yes.
If they are buying the whole acres, that's about 10 acres of those, and they're not doing that with one farmer, they're doing that with a few farmers. So that the staple, the gari, that how much are you going to sell, and you're going to make more money, but you make more when you're buying from an organization. So that itself could lead to a spike in the price of those. As for Nigeria, the bitter kola case, it was foreigners that knew that we had much of that, and they were coming to ferry this thing out. One of it I used to buy for 30 naira, 20 naira. Today, they sell one of it 300 naira, 200 naira, 400 naira. Why? It didn't just go away like
400 in your place? Yeah. You live in a very high-class place.
Okay, that's a great way to that's a great way to even just round this up. I hear you all. Thank you so much. I really love those submissions. And if you're in a position to effect change so that my good people out there, can get things more affordable, please take some of the submissions of this gentleman that they've all submitted. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, Soup Business Landscape continues. Welcome back to the Soup Business Landscape. Thank you so much for staying with us. We move on to our second topic of conversation today. The Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas Limited has confirmed that its $10 billion Train 7 project is now 80% complete. With a complex project requiring, highly advanced technology and specialized manpower, the company has launched an intensive human capital development program in collaboration with the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board. At the inauguration of 140 trainees in Port Harcourt, Dr. Sophia Hosfall, General Manager of External Relations and Sustainable Development, emphasized NLNG's commitment to building a skilled oil and gas workforce for the nation. The trainees who previously completed a year of basic technical training will now undergo 3 months of on-the-job experience in areas including commissioning, maintenance, and quality control at NLNG's Bonny Island facility. Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Engineer Felix Ogbe, said the program reflects the board's strategic investment in Nigeria's oil and gas future. So far, over 400 Nigerians have benefited from the initiative, which aligns technical training with real-time industry demands. All right, to us in the studio, gentlemen, one of the main things here, the Train 7 is 80% complete. The big question now is, how transformative will this $10 billion project be to Nigeria's economy, but also to our influence as energy giants globally? Let's hear you, Mr. Chooks.
Definitely, this is one of those projects that we've been looking forward to for a very long time. Now, if you remember, when we had that inroad into liquefied natural gas, that was 1999, we were all shouting and saying, okay, crude, you have somebody to compete with. Yeah. But 1999 till date, it's been a long time. But they've made progress from a 2-train facility to 6-train facility in 9 years. That was good, even if you wanted more. Now, this 7-train project is estimated to boost their capacity production by 35%. That's from 22 million tons per annum to about 30 million tons per annum. But now, Nigerians want to see figures. That's just the major issues. We had the night we have the ninth largest reserve, NLNG reserve in the world. We want to see this being exported. Now, yes, we have been. Over 5,000 ships have left our shores and crossed to those that want it. But now, for this seventh train, one thing we have learned from crude oil is that of foreigners, let me be direct, manning the helms of affairs. For this particular project, we are seeing the training of Nigerians, even if they are not that high, how will I call it, not top management staff, both in management and in technology-wise. But we will get there. I want to see what SUP does. Poach, get the best, train those on ground, let them be able to take over whatever is being built. As they are building, we want to see Nigerians watching and building alongside. Now, we see a lot of fabrication works, we see a lot of the metal works, we see a lot of the engineering works, we see Nigerian companies are part of it as this is happening. That is a yes, yes for us. We want to see more. We want to see more. As we speak, the NLNG is contributing about 4% of our annual GDP. We want to see it grow to 20, 30%. Gas is the future. It's not like it's something that we are scared and say it's going to devastate the environment. No. Gas is the part of the future. So we want to see this particular arm of government be very transparent. That's one. Personnel-wise, Nigerians should, in the next few years, not just be the leading exporter of it, but also the leading personnel in that particular sector. I want to see accountability too.
Yeah, you know, one of the things that I love about your assertion was, you know, when you spoke about, you know, boosting local expertise in the field. Mr. Krumale, do you think that finally Nigeria might be getting our local content strategy right, especially with something like this?
Okay, so I think was it the executive secretary, one of the chief executives, or one of the executive position members that you mentioned was you know, expressing gratitude to the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board for how they've, because those number of people that Mr. Chooks called, and you also called, and that is even stated in the report, about 140 of them will be trained.
Over 400.
Over 400, rather, will be trained. That's an initiative that is driven by the Nigerian Content Development Monitoring Board, because local content, this is what we're talking about when we're talking about transfer of technology from the foreign clime down to us. They can come here, we can hire them to buy us locomotives, to build rail lines and all of that, yes, but that technology, the knowledge behind it needs to be transferred. So if, imagine those 400, if they are being trained in whatever they need to be trained within that space of transportation, and how the spiral effect or the ripple effect will be on the advantage of our country. Now, after then, what I want to look at is the benefits that we will be getting from this. Even though we started 20, I don't know if 2019, everyone we started this.
2020.
2020, yeah.
2020,
Yes.
okay, yes, that we started. And for the fact that 5 years, after 5 years or 6 years, we're just 80%. Why? I want to know why we've wasted.
It's stalled.
No, yes, that's why it needs to do that. Now the government needs to do that, and this administration needs to make sure that we bring back the glory days of the Nigeria Railway Corporation, which actually fetched the government of this country a larger chunk also, a substantial chunk of the IGR. So if at this time we are having annually, and it's giving us 1 billion naira and more, I think we can do more to get more than 1 billion naira. Because if you look at cargo transportation, pipeline, or petroleum transportation, this is the facility that will do the magic. And we will be able to get something from that. And not only that, we look at the transportation and ferrying of goods and services from one part of the country to the other part of the country. It's going to facilitate that process, and probably if it has to do with petroleum resources, maybe we do not have to encounter the problems that we've been encountering before, where we have trucks and all of them. Nigerian liquefied natural gas, not the Nigerian
railways.
Not the Nigerian railways. So we can achieve a lot with this. However, if the government comes in where it's supposed to come in and play its role effectively, I think we should have a positive result.
I love that we talked about the training and the equipping and pushing for local expertise. 80% so far has been completed. 400 people.
80% in 4 years.
In 4, yeah.
80% in 4
Which means it's left with like 20% to go.
Yes.
Which we don't know how long that 20% will be. I hate to be the naysayer. I feel like I'm always very negative.
Definitely. Now, see, the thing is this: we are not dealing with we're not just dealing with dry land construction. This is happening in the waters.
Yeah.
Large chunk of it is happening within the Bonny side of the country. And for the liquefied natural gas, now they started with Train 2 a long time ago. Now we are trying to be able to get more, pump more, transport more, explore more. We are at Train 7. Definitely they go beyond Train 7 with time. But this particular project is costing us $10 billion coming from outside, though.
Dollars.
Yes, $10 billion coming from a lot of investments, with Nigeria also putting their money down. And we look forward to having an organization that is world class. Now they have separated themselves right from the onset. And we are major players globally.
Yes.
We just don't want to be major players, we want to be the leading player. We want to be able to say, okay, in 4 or 5 years, we are giving Nigeria 20% of our GDP, 30% of our GDP. So that way, every single week, we can monitor how much was explored, how much was pushed out, how much was sold, and how much do we have. That is what we want to see. And this is seriously advanced technology driven.
I hear you.
And Nigerians are in the forefront of it.
I hear you. But correct me if I'm wrong, the Dangote refinery here employs about 30,000 workers, if not more.
Okay.
Right? So if you're building a $10 billion infrastructure and you're saying that, oh, we're trying to boost local expertise and we're training people.
No, they've trained. The 400 is
they've
done
trained
already.
the 400. Yeah, they've trained the 400 and you're already 80. So between 0 to 80%, you trained 400 people.
Okay.
400 people are not enough.
Definitely. I hope you know people are working there already.
People are working there.
Definitely, Nigerians are. We have we've been blessed with not just lines. A lot of the vessels ferrying our gas are Nigerian vessels.
Interesting.
That's one good thing about them. So several Nigerian vessels have been ferrying our liquefied natural gas, even if we still have input from other nations and other organizations. So they've been in operation, and we just want more transparency.
Yes, I think
And more
that's very
involvement of Nigerian companies. If Nigerian companies can produce 50% of our crude as we speak, then Nigerian companies can do better.
Fair enough. Mr. Limited, what do you think this means, for Bonny Island, the people who live there? What impact, do you think that an infrastructure of this magnitude will have on the people and the area?
Well, it's a good initiative.
Yeah.
Job creation, skill transfer. We'll have a pipeline of talent retained in Nigeria and all that. But there are also environmental concerns. The expansion of NLNG infrastructure, raises questions about emission,
Yes.
the ecosystem disruption, community impact, and all that. And we are supposed to be shifting towards renewable energy.
Yes.
So I hope that this initiative would not draw us back and make us vulnerable at the end of the day. So these are some of the things we also need. Then also the biggest question is sustainability. We live in Nigeria, sustainability. Also, these people that are trained, what happens after they have been trained?
They are retained.
They are retained.
Global practices. I don't think another company can pay them better.
They are retained.
Yes.
So it all boils down to sustainability. I won't say more.
Okay.
But right now, with this infrastructure, should we be looking at, boosting domestic operations or export expansion?
Export expansion.
That should be our primary.
That is the priority.
I think that solves the problem, the concern that Olumide is raising about sustainability. And we also need to know, as much as we are, categorized or classified as a country with abundant natural resources, and they said we have lots of crude right beneath our feet. Some experts said notwithstanding the amount of crude that we have beneath our feet, it cannot be compared to the gas that we have as a country, and
The gas is way more.
It's way
Yes,
more.
yeah.
It's way more than the crude. And if we have more gas than the crude, and we have infrastructure like this Train 7 being put in place for us not only to satisfy local demands but also to satisfy exports, then I think the issue about sustainability will be achieved because, and if we're exporting, we are not exporting in naira, because we're exporting in dollars, and we stand to make more, then we'll keep the wheels running.
Very, very. Do you want to make a final assertion?
I just like that, keeping the wheels running. Mine is just accountability.
Mine
is sustainability.
And trust, but I mean, again, 4 years in, 80% done, which means this project is supposed to be finished by the end of this year, or maybe early
No
2026.
No,
It's meant to be.
If
Do
we
you
go
think
with maths,
that we can
no,
do this?
if we go with maths and 4 years, 80%, then 20% should be done in 1 year.
Yeah. So
Let's say by next year, this time next year, they should be done.
And again,
if we go with
this
maths,
Bonny Island is in Rivers State,
yes, it's in
and we
Rivers.
know, there's a little bit of political unrest. Is there a
no,
fear?
Bonny is very quiet.
No, I'm talking about Rivers State in
Island.
general.
No,
And
yes,
also,
whatever happens there, Bonny's on his
Stays
own.
there.
Oh no, Bonny's on his
All
own.
right, so we're saying that there's no risk of like
It's
a
not-
political,
Politically inclined,
political
connected.
Definitely
politicizing the
it's
entire issue.
connected, but Bonny's on his own.
It is
Bonny
connected,
always,
and
Bonny's always Bonny.
I know why Chips is saying that. The only disruption that we may have is the people who give the orders for work to be done.
Yeah.
And because some of the appointments can be influenced by politics, and if it is influenced by politics, because normally I don't really think it was supposed to drag for this long, 4 years, but we know it
The
is.
contract
we know
was
it's a
awarded
Herculean
in
task.
2020.
We know it's a Herculean task, and that it's something they can look at it that way. But it's okay. We can do more than that, and hopefully, if by this year ends, we get that. Then I think some of the aspiration of this administration might come to pass because it's going to boost exports, and maybe the aspiration of becoming the $1 trillion economy might be achieved.
But can we increase? Can't we increase the number of people who have been trained? 400 is
Also,
Now,
it's not. That's what I said. It's not a huge figure. And if he said the people are already
These are trained already, not
These are trained already, not the
trained.
people that are
not,
currently
not
working.
the intake, not those currently working, and not those that will be trained. These
But
are
also,
trained
I think there should be a plan for actual retention of the labor, because
Definitely,
if
you
train
can't-
these
now,
people
this-
and
this-
then they get better opportunities outside.
That's what that
they
was
will
where
get-
I was
there can't be a better opportunity, and I want to know
outside.
How do you know that?
outside
is the why I wanted you to ask.
Nigeria or
There can't be
outside.
Now, there can't be a better opportunity. Now, outside Nigeria, maybe the person wants a different kind of life.
Yeah.
I don't know if you understand now. If you know Bonny very well, you just know that it's a different
Have
community.
you visited Bonny before?
You know it's a beautiful, different community.
Sounds like you know that.
So now, for everyone working in that industry, it's the oil and gas industry. They are not paid because they are Nigerian. You're paid an international grade level fee. So what you be paid here is the same thing,
be paid
almost
out.
the same thing you be paid in Saudi Arabia. The only thing you might enjoy is just maybe the environment, the climb, and the perks that come with being outside your workplace.
All right, I will do my findings as regards that, and we'll come back to Mr. Chuck John Rogers as the financial analyst and payroll manager.
Of NLNG in Bonny Island.
But obviously, great things are happening in the liquefied natural gas sector, and we hope, even though I like to play the devil's advocate every now and then, we all want the best for the country, and we hope that everything falls into place. We'll go on a short break, but don't forget, this is Souk Business Landscape, and we'll be back with more. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. This is still Souk Business Landscape on Souk News TV. Thank you so much for staying tuned to our final topic of discussion for this afternoon. The federal government is accelerating talks with the Japan International Cooperation Agency to activate a 15 billion yen, which approximately is $110 million emergency loan aimed at boosting food production and strengthening resilience against inflation and supply shocks. This was confirmed after a high-level meeting involving the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, and the Minister of Agriculture, Senator Abubakar Kyari, alongside JICA officials in Abuja. Yes, more loans. Everybody is looking to give Nigeria a loan at this point. But the main issue here is that this loan is supposed to boost our agricultural sector, which is great because we had a conversation about the RAMs and logistics and all of that. What are your thoughts on this in general, Chooks?
Is it buying food or boosting agricultural sector? It's just vague.
It's Nigeria's agricultural production.
Agricultural production,
What exactly?
All of it, everything agriculture can produce.
What do we produce in Nigeria? We produce rice.
Now you're talking like one of those lecturers that will just go print handout and say, get it.
No, that's not me. That's the information that's available. That has nothing to do with me.
I'm talking about that information.
Okay, fair.
It's just that you just print out and again, 100 and something loan.
Yeah.
And this is coming easy. It's not a grant. We are going to pay back.
Exactly.
Through a ministry. No. This is a capital no. If we say we want to invest in agriculture, let it be homegrown.
Yes.
What idea, what project that is not homegrown can never be sustained. This is not sustainable. Because I bet you there are no specifics on this particular loan.
Yes, there are. And even Japan have made a report to that, that there's really no clarity on what exactly this loan is for. And I think that's when you know that there's a problem.
But they give, knowing fully in return that they're going to get something back.
Yeah.
I don't know if you understand. It's the hand that is giving you, there is a full bucket collecting.
Yes.
So why are we still following these routes year in, year out? If we really want to grow agriculture, then let's have a plan here in Nigeria.
That is sustainable.
That is sustainable. And not federal government driven. Federal government is not in the farms.
So basically, what we're saying now is Nigeria needs to focus on food sovereignty.
Thank you very much. That is where it should start. This should be run from the local farmer to the local government to the state government. Federal government should just watch and supervise.
But Chooks, if we are looking towards food sustainability, food sovereignty, like you just said, and for us to be able to feed 220 or 200, more than 200
over
million
200
people,
million people.
before we can stabilize on our feet to have no
surplus,
not just surplus, to be able, because we need to put infrastructure and technology in place that will make us to harvest at least like 3 or 4 times in a year.
You have to plant before you harvest.
Yes, but there is Naseni itself and other institutions.
Naseni is not planting.
Yeah, I know, but it has to do. It's a component institution that builds tech, and that has to do with drainage also. That also facilitates that. No, so because they have said something like that they are trying to walk the path or make technology available where
technology for what?
For us to have continuous at least 3 times a year harvest coming from our farms.
There are specifics.
We need some form of money.
Specifics.
Yes.
When problem comes, you now seek technology to either overcome the problem or make that particular process faster. Now the person is planting. If he needs to till the ground, okay, there are tractors that you have pullers for hedges, for ridges. You now look for technology for that. If it's a big farm, a big acres of land. If it's for harvest, you have harvesters. If it's for sprinklers, if you have to apply pesticides, then you now look for sprinklers, whatever. But now, what solutions that happen that solve their problem in the West can't solve our problems because we don't have the same kind of land.
Different climes.
Apart from the climate, we don't have ownership of land like the way they do there.
Well,
land and
Western
people that are farming here are not the same kind of way they farm there. We farm small scale here. 20 people farming an acre of land. Okay, you can't even enter from one person's land to the other except they come together as a group.
Yes.
We have farms that are community driven.
Yes.
So you can't go from one community to the other except you have to pull them together. This is where we need government to come in. Now we are looking at the loan of 110 110 million.
Dollars.
Can you specifically say this is where this money is going to? It's going to grow this kind of crops or to rear this kind of animals. Can we specifically say that? Or it's going to build silos? Or it's going to build a road from Angwarimi to Ilorin that will ease transport? What exactly is that money being used?
You know, it's. I mean, if you ask me, I can't give an answer. You know, that's my major issue here. But Olumide, when you look at our, external loan plan of about $21 billion, external borrowing plan, which is not yet. We plan to still borrow and additional
as we speak right now, there is. The document is in the National Assembly.
Yes,
we don't even know whether they've approved it for 24.1
As of now, we
billion.
don't know if they've approved it yet. But what does this mean for you, Lumide? We were talking about loans all week last week, and this week there's still loans. We're talking about $110 million from Japan. Japan is telling us that we're not really clear on what you want. And, we are not... We that are asking for the loan, it seems like we don't particularly know exactly where we're going to channel this funds to.
We want the money.
We just want the money. Olumide, where do you think this sits with our plan for borrowing our existing debt profile? What is all of this about?
I think it all makes sense now when China said that they like doing business in Africa.
Of course.
And they are encouraging more investors, more people to come into West Africa and, do whatever they want. Because I don't even know how much if this is shared between all Nigerians, over 200, I don't know how much will be. And that's not even the case. The case is accountability. This boils down on accountability. We are not seeing what this thing is for. We hope probably we'll see some debate at the National Assembly. Yeah. If not, we'll just hear it has been approved. And
has the money not been taken and disbursed? Or disbursed and taken?
Okay, so I want to read some... Okay, go on.
Now, from the reports I'm seeing here, the loan, is supposed to enable immediate funding for core farming activities, especially during the rainy season, to help increase food output.
What are the core farming activities?
That's what I'm saying. That's what.
Okay, so
that's what I'm reading here.
Okay,
which is not bad, and it says by increasing local food supply, the loan can help reduce dependence on
generalistic, if I can use that.
Lower food prices. That's what they are saying.
It's very prima facie.
Let's deal with what he just said.
No. I
You have your day. Let me just finish.
Okay.
My major concern now is when this administration leaves and another administration comes in, I hope that this administration would have sorted out all the loans and everywhere. I remember when Obasanjo went from countries to countries, seeking debt reliefs and all that. I hope we'll just be able to sort this out after this administration goes, so that China doesn't come and just seize our airport and what.
No, it won't happen.
All right.
Now let's follow what you just read. Now, according to the report.
According to the report, yes.
Now, according to the report is saying lower food. No, let's start with what's the first one?
It's supposed to enable immediate funding of core farming.
Good. It's just
so that during the rainy season,
nothing was said.
During the rainy season,
do you want me to give you some?
Let's
aggregation, financing, and value chain support.
Lower food prices. How can you lower food prices? Typical example: maize. Maize takes 3 months or less than 3 months, between 2-3 months. So if I plant maize now, is it going to lower the food prices when harvest is coming in 3 months?
Also reduce dependence on food import.
Dependence on food import, which means they want to go and start. This is where we get specific. Are they taking this money to go and buy cereal? Say it. Are you taking this money to go to another place to go and buy wheat? Say it. Because you can't tell me that it's going to lower. No, that's not true. That is 100% not true.
Okay, Chus, what about issues like the federal government is engaging with Japan International to support 500,000 farmers ahead of the 2025 wet season? Now, 500,000 farmers.
Where?
Will be supported, of course, in the country, and we all know that many of them are domiciled in the northern part.
We're trying here.
You
keep questioning us like we're fighting here.
Apart from boosting agricultural output that he talked about through timely import delivery, blah blah blah, harvest handling,
Yeah.
Now we've spoken about harvest handling and how in this process there are some
See,
foods.
now, we've gotten to a place where our president have taught us to question everything
Yes.
and ask questions.
No, he didn't only taught us, he told us to.
No,
actually, he
he
said
also
we can
taught us.
criticize him.
He
that
taught
there's
us.
no problem.
Now, the issue is, you said harvest what? Harvest what?
To timely, okay, blah, 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 efficient post-harvest handling
Okay, good.
and improved
Is
market
enough.
access.
Is enough. Post-harvest handling. Did they plant? We've said that before.
Yeah.
You can't harvest what you did not plant. So what are you harvesting?
But we've had seasons where we planted and some of the harvest got lost in transit because we do not have some
It's still-
specific infrastructure
it's still in
to
the
save
air.
this product.
As we speak with you
I
now,
understand.
I went to Abuja last month. On my way back, I saw
Silos.
some beautiful silos that were built. I still have those pictures. As the driver was asked, hey, slow down. I still have those pictures. Now, tell me that you're taking this money to build silos in Enugu. I'll say, okay, good. Or you want to build cold room in Jos. I'll say, beautiful. Or you want to build a different kind of farming in Abeokuta. I'll say, beautiful. Now we are talking specifics. Now, mind you, just last year, what's it called? African Development Bank dropped another loan. I don't know if that was a grant to every single local government
Yes.
for farming. What is the result? What has come out of that?
Do we even know what the money was used for?
I don't know. What has come out of that? Now we are taking another 110 million and we are just dropping it on big.
Maybe before the end of the year, we'll start buying a Congo of Gary for 500
Let's hope
naira.
Did you plant cassava?
Let's even
Now,
hope
say
not.
before what? Before
Before
the end of
December.
the year.
Okay,
Maybe.
now, Muyo, please permit me.
Go ahead.
That is not going to happen. Because for you to harvest the Gary you will take in January, you've planted it last year.
In January of next year?
This December,
Okay, for us to...
the
Okay.
cassava was planted last year. So, dear Priye, where are we going?
The ones that we've
All right,
planted.
our government says we urgently
I think it's
need...
just accountability.
Yeah, accountability, that's where this is. But our government also says that we urgently need this. Again, as they say, for the
So why don't they just
season.
tell us that they want to go buy grains?
But let's
subsidize.
even just say ceteris paribus, right? Like, okay, this money comes in, and we're trying to do the right thing with this money. We also have to recognize the existing inflation right now. How would this money make the inflation, reduce?
How?
For the people? How would it?
The money is not going to production. That is where the problem is. Now, the money is going to consumption. The loans we are taking is directly going into consumption. So there is no production anything. So there is no, even we
Nothing
that
to
are,
fall back.
nothing, we that are taking the loan is just to spend it, to consume it. There's nothing that we're going to produce to give us profit that we can now pay back and still have something in return. So this is the sad part of it. This kind of loans needs to stop.
It is. Priya, while all of this is going on, just to annoy, well, let me not use the word annoy, but just to get you all revved up a little bit, we're also requesting a 51 million, let me look at, a 51 million euro grant.
If that's a grant.
Yeah, which is better, right?
We can get all the grants we can get. I welcome it.
What are your thoughts on this? We're asking,
on the
it seems like we're always just asking for money everywhere.
No, well, no country is an island, and we need all the help that we can get.
That prayer goes.
Yes, and we need all the money that we can get. But the thing is this, I know the reason why Chooks is hungry. I am also. But the thing is, what we can say is that when monies come like this, we are supposed to tie them to specific projects.
Yes.
And now the government has tied this money to a specific project of agriculture. Chooks is now very, very
Let him learn. Let him learn.
Can you define the word specific?
Chooks is now very, very specific. Okay, fine. Now, if it's going to agriculture, could it be more specific in the?
But it's not wrong. If Japan,
I know.
Japan is saying there's no clarity
I'm not saying it's wrong.
Yeah,
But 500,000 farmers who in the wet season.
Okay.
Okay, come on.
Okay.
500,000.
No,
The names of 500,000 farmers are just
you
too
make
much.
it look like wet season is a place in Kaduna State. So wet season is somewhere.
Okay, so where I'll be more specific is this.
Okay.
If the government, because the government can't just say, okay, Japan International Cooperation Agency, I need, here's the paper, give me $110 million or $1 billion, and they're just going to present it. And that is why I invite to address issues from institutional perspective as well.
So okay, we never tell us the terms of these loans.
Can you tell us?
Our president went to China.
No. Can't you tell?
With the governor of Lagos State,
the
he
national
was very direct. Give us a loan to build a red line.
Did you just say?
No.
You didn't just say that. Before he said that, proposal would have gone
to
the
same
the National Assembly. The National Assembly would have gone through this paper for this one. And even if Japan does not have any right to come in public domain to say, we want to give them $110 million. We don't know million naira. We don't even know what they're asking for, but you know what, we're going to give them anyways. That is wrong.
As the World Bank,
I think it is. I think the World Bank can have the right because it's a multilateral. Okay. Because this one is facilitated. We are going to pay back. We are going to pay back. If I'm coming to you to borrow money, if I'm coming to you to borrow money, we don't have the right to go out and be telling them that I don't know what he wants to use it for. I think it's wrong.
Okay, now
the government has a responsibility.
Hold on, guys. I think that the biggest takeaway here is that when we're, trying to get loans and, as you said, it has to be tied to a specific project. As you said, there must be transparency. You also mentioned that as well.
Sorry, the president said we need red line to be specific. Going from this point of the mainland to that point of the island, specific names, Ekpe, Aja, down. As we speak, the blue line, they've taken consignment of the coaches and the trains as of this week.
Great.
I don't know even specifics. And the people see it working. Now you are saying you are dropping 5,000 wetland where?
500,000.
Anyway, I want to hear your thoughts, Olumide. What do you think all of this does for the image of Nigeria?
I want to be optimistic as possible.
I do too.
So
You're tired, right?
I think it will, from the report also, it says here that it will also encourage political ties or economic ties with Japan, make it stronger.
We're trying to build friendships.
We're trying to build friendship, partnership.
Now, this is the real story. Friendship and partnership. The up one.
The more Chooks and I continue to do business, the more I continue to borrow money from Chooks and I pay back, the stronger
Who is going to pay back?
The bond created by the interest, the stronger the bond.
Facilitate global trade.
Thank you, Priye. Thank you, Priye.
So,
thank you.
We cannot really say that we've not benefited. Even if it's a loan we're collecting from them, but we've also benefited somehow from them also.
All right. Thank you so much, Olumide.
Apart from the loans.
Thank you, gentlemen. It has been a great show. This has been the Eid. What's Eid al-Fitri?
Eid al-Kabir.
Eid al-Kabir. I apologize to my Muslim brothers and sisters. We wish you a beautiful, beautiful day. Also, save some meat for us if you can. And from all of us here, we say thank you. My name is Moyosore Adebi. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Moyo Lagos, and please follow Souk News TV as well at Souk News TV on all social media platforms as well. Chooks, any last words?
Yeah, thank you everyone. Have yourself a beautiful celebration, and remember, be nice to one another. My name is Chooks, John Rogers Chooks. You can follow me at CGUVNOR, that's C Governor, on all social media platforms. Be nice.
All right, Priye.
Yeah, and it's for me, it's Oyin Priye 8. Instagram and Oyipre5 on Twitter. Many thanks for watching.
Mr. Olumide?
Many thanks for watching. Happy Sallah celebration. I am Olumide Shokoya, Media Juggernaut on Instagram. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, from all of us here, have a lovely day ahead. God bless.